Welcome back to another episode of The Blueprint. I'm your host, Calvin Custance. This week's guest is Jakivion Calip, a 3-star running back from Olentangy Orange High School. He has signed on to play football at Central Michigan University. Welcome to the show, JJ. All right, so today we have Jakivion Calip. Yeah?
Yep, that's right.
All right, perfect. He is a running back, a 3-star running back that's signed on to Central Michigan, which is coincidentally where I'm actually going. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of your high school because I looked it up and it's like a debate how to pronounce it. I don't know.
Olentangy.
Olentangy, because some people are saying Tangy, some people are saying Tangy. Okay.
That's for short. That they call it Tangy for short.
Okay. Gotcha. So thank you. Yeah, so he goes there. You're a 3-star, all county, all state, all district. You got everything. You got all the accolades. You got 1,800 all-purpose yards. You got 15 D1 offers. You got a lot of stuff. So we can talk about. So first off, I'm going to start with a few fun questions. So first off, what's your favorite food?
Mac and cheese, most definitely. That's the number one off the line. Mac and cheese is my go-to.
Do you like that homemade mac and cheese, or are you like a craft type of guy?
Anything that got pasta and cheese on it, I'm for it.
I like it. Do you have a favorite class at school?
I love history. I'm not taking it this year, but I love history. It was it's like probably my favorite class that I've ever taken in like school in general. Definitely history.
What era of history was your favorite to study?
I love the wars like type era and like the Cold War and stuff like that. That was like my favorite. Also, like back to like I love the British fighting, their wars and stuff like that. Was pretty entertaining. So,
What's your favorite movie?
Man, this is kind of going to be a little weird one, but Spider-Man Into the Verse. I don't know if you know about that one.
No, I know that one. I'm not uncultured.
Finding Nemo might be coming after that. I'm kind of like a little childlike movies.
Hey, Disney movies are good. That's Disney, right?
Yeah, Disney,
I thought so. I second guessing myself for a second, but yeah, Disney movies. One of my favorite movies of all time is Cars. I grew up on that movie, and then of course, like I'm a musical person, so Moana it's got stacked cast and Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote it. So,
Moana's a nice movie too. I like Moana. Top Gun, for like an older, Top Gun's probably my favorite movie. Actually, that movie was pretty insane. I like that. Like,
I haven't seen that. Yeah.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, it's nice. I'm not even going to spoil it for you.
Yeah, please don't. I'd appreciate that. I've heard it's good. Everyone in my family saw it. I just I don't know what I was doing that day. I just didn't go. And I've heard it's good, but I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite song or musical artist?
Honestly, to that question, I really don't. I listen to like a lot of genres of music. I listen to rap, pop, country, certain kind of country. I listen to honestly everything, to classical music. I still do listen to some Marvin Gaye. I don't know. I'm the all type
Motown.
Of genre. Yeah.
Oh, I love me some Motown. Do you have a favorite video game?
Probably Madden.
What's your go-to team?
Probably the Browns. I mean, I make things work with the Browns. You'd be surprised.
Yeah?
I make things work with them.
Hey, you have a good quarterback, whether or not he's good in real life in terms of anyways, a good quarterback. You got Nick Chubb, you got a great offensive line, you have a good at least decent defensive line with a superstar on it. So you got good players and good places with that team. So
most definitely.
Yeah, I'm a hometown guy. I go with the Lions. I always have, whether it's a blessing or a curse. Always go with the Lions.
Even probably, I haven't asked Lou Nichols what his favorite NFL team was, but I'm assuming it'd probably be the Lions.
Yeah, hopefully it is.
Everybody in Michigan loves the Lions. I've noticed that.
I know. Then sometimes you come across like the one random Packers fan for no reason. It's like half the time they don't even watch football. They just it's like, really? If of any team in the NFL, if you're not going to root for the Lions, you choose the Packers.
Yeah,
Like
that's not
what?
a good.
Like what are you doing? Oh my gosh. Do you have a favorite holiday?
No, not necessarily. If I was forced to answer, it'd probably be Christmas.
Yeah. Do you have any like family traditions or traditions that you do on Christmas?
I mean, yeah, not really. We just celebrate, open gifts, give gifts and stuff like that. So
Fair enough. Then if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
probably Romania.
Is there a reason behind that?
No, not really. I just feel like their culture is interesting, and I've always been kind of like interested in like their culture, like going through like history and stuff like that. And yeah,
That's cool. So you obviously you play football. That's what you're playing in college. Hell, do you play any other sports like currently?
my friend, I played baseball. Middle school, I played soccer and basketball. I boxed a little bit from about the age 7 to maybe 12, 13. And then I ran track last year, indoor track. So
That's cool. And then how long have you played football?
from since probably the age of 5, 4 or 5.
And then why'd you get into playing football? Did your parents just sign you up or?
No, actually, it's a weird story. My brother's dad, well, like my dad, but we were watching TV. I was like probably 4, going on to be 5, and I remember we seen the Raiders playing on the TV. I think it's the Raiders or the Ohio State Buckeyes, one of the two. But and I just remember watching them have the big shoulder pads on. I just asked them like, do they have to wear that? Because I'm thinking like that's not shoulder pads. Me being 4, I thought it was just like their shoulder.
Decoration.
Yeah, yeah. I asked them that. Ever since I've been interested into playing football. So,
That's cool. So starting out, what position did you play?
starting out, I played a lot of running back. I mean, that was my actually my first carry of my life ever playing football. I scored. So running back, receiver. I did play just a little bit of O line, tight end. Like once I got towards like sixth, seventh grade, probably a
Yeah.
little bit. Not much though.
Do you play both sides of the ball now or just offense?
Uh, about sophomore year, they switched me to like I don't know. I think after sophomore year, I got switched to pretty much offense from being at both schools, from being at Kilbourne and Orange. They just put me to mainly just playing offense. So, or if I did play defense, I'd probably be playing corner, outside linebacker, maybe.
Hmm. So do you watch much professional? Obviously, we were just talking about the Lions, but do you watch much professional or college football?
I watch more college football. I think college is more like entertaining. It's just my fit of who I don't know. I'm going into college, so I just kind of like I watch it a lot now. So it's
Yeah.
been my dream one. So it's kind of like cool to see the
Besides obviously Central, what's your favorite college football team?
probably the Buckeyes. I've been watching the Buckeyes since I was little, since I was like little. So
And then are you a Michigan or State fan? If you're not a fan of either, who would you rather or what would you say you'd rather?
Michigan State,
Okay, good. I
yeah,
figured
because
with you saying Buckeyes were your favorite, you weren't gonna say Michigan because that would be kind of interesting, but
yeah,
yeah, no,
but
I
right,
hear you.
and that's my favorite team.
Yeah. Why exactly? Well, besides the fact that they're just happen to be really good, is that the reason? Unless you grew up watching them.
Wait, can you repeat that again?
Why exactly are they your favorite team, or you just since you just grew up watching them? Was that just the reason?
Yeah, pretty much. And I met a lot of Ohio State players going out through the years, and I mean, they just seem like great guys. I mean, all college football players are great guys, but I mean, just being in the hometown of Columbus, Ohio, and just watching those guys is just like inspirational. So
Oh yeah, way over my head. I totally forgot you're from Ohio.
yeah,
I swear I did my research. I know I did, but
okay,
the way we're talking Lions and stuff, I was like, my brain was
yeah,
just automatically in Michigan mode. I guess that makes sense that you're a Buckeye fan then.
yeah.
Anyways, so when did you start taking football seriously, like in terms of playing at the next level?
I really started taking it seriously about sophomore year. we had a really good football team, and I seen a lot of the older guys go to college. Actually, I have a friend, former teammate Mitchell Tomsek. He went to he ended up going to Eastern Michigan, and him, Caden Doherty, and the kid Justin Allen. Ever since and they like kind of like moved off, I just kind of followed their footsteps and listened to them always telling me that I'm going to go Division 1. Like there was no we think you're going to go Division 1. It was always you're going to go Division 1, and I just turned those words into reality. So those guys put a big. I took that more seriously. You know, when they were telling me that, I started to kind of change a lot. Um, had a big support system back there.
Hmm. So kind of going off with that, who are some of your favorite players to watch and kind of model your game after?
Definitely Nick Chubb. I like the way that Nick Chubb just like he's just a strong, hard runner. And then I like so guys Ezekiel Elliott because he went to Ohio State.
Yeah,
So
that's a Buckeye right there. And then
love.
pardon? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I was saying I love those guys. Those guys special.
Yeah, the receiver room though, as much as I don't like Ohio State because obviously I'm from Michigan, the receiver room is year after year. It's so impressive how good the receiver room is.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Every year we always got
I
somebody.
know, seriously. It's like, okay, this year they have 3 first-round picks. This year they have 2. It's like, do you need that much talent on your team? No, but
Yeah.
hey. So, what exactly do you do? What exactly do you take from those players like Chubb and try to implement? Exactly do you implement into your own game from those players?
Pretty much the hard running. I feel like when you're running at somebody pretty hard, especially on the high school level, it gets a little bit intimidating to them. So, but also, I mean, the hard running can just, I mean, working hard in the gym and stuff like that can just like you working hard in the gym and running hard in the gym, just like all that talent and skill that you use in there just goes on the field. Um, all that stuff
Mhm.
just moves the field, and you just start doing that, and it's just like I just model after that. Run hard and try to get every yard. Honestly, so
Yeah, so talking about that, with training, how many days a week do you train?
so right now I've been on a workout schedule, so about 5 days a week, but I just had a shoulder surgery, so it's been limited.
Yeah.
But on a like without my shoulder surgery, I go to Hope Monday, Wednesdays, and then I'd be lifting at the school. So pretty much every day, somewhat, and then I have a Sunday off, Saturday, Sunday kind of offish days because I still go to I do a lot of footwork stuff and vision catching and stuff like that on the weekend.
Mhm. So how exactly do you train, like you mentioned, vision and stuff like that are harder? It's not just like lifting weights. Like how exactly do you train stuff like that?
Yeah, key thing that you said that it's not about just lifting weights. I feel like a lot of people they get this idea if they're lifting 1,000 pounds that's everything. Honestly, it's really not. Especially being like an all around athlete and playing different positions, you really have to focus on like a thing, this big thing, like your legs, your arms. Like your vision. It's a lot of things that come in with football that just doesn't have to do with like that doesn't have to like this that doesn't have to do with like weightlifting and stuff. So stretching and hips, your hip movement's a big thing,
Mhm.
for a lot of positions because that's just better. A lot of kids they want to go on the weekends, they want to lift 1,000 pounds. When me being a little different, I just I'd be on the ladder working on speed stuff, agility. That means a lot. So
Yeah, so what exactly do you think people training to play running back should focus on the most?
really, I mean, it's not really a thing that you should focus on the most. I think you have to have a balance to play running back. I feel like you have to be strong. Whenever you have to be strong, so that means you have to hit the weight room. Like I'm squatting about my max would be 530. I'm benching about like 270. So those things, I'm not saying that weight doesn't matter or anything like that, but those things that makes you a good running back is just focusing on vision. Because when you get the ball, you got to make a choice. Like a lot of dudes dance around at the line of scrimmage. You can't do that. agility, cutting abilities. How good are you in open space? So I work on a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that. I also work a lot on the mental aspect, especially when I go to Hope, because running back could be a difficult position, especially when you're getting 30 carries a game. It get like pretty tiring. So a lot of
Yeah.
conditioning, and I just think it all comes together. It'll all come together. So
Do you have you been put on any like specific training from your college coaches or anything like that?
yeah, mine's is kind of weird right now because of my shoulder. So we got
Mm-hmm.
our they've been getting us on some nutrition plans and workout plans and stuff like that. So we're getting into those.
Mm-hmm. How long were you on varsity for football?
So I was on varsity. I came to my school a little late. So I've been playing varsity for about 3 years now.
Mm-hmm. And then, what's some advice that you'd have for people trying to earn a starting spot on a varsity football team?
I think a lot of mistakes that younger kids make is that this kid's older than me. He's better than me. So that's the first thing that they think. I feel like when you go into high school, you should be thinking that. I mean, well, if you're working hard, that's number one. You need to work hard because these guys are older, the more developed. And I just feel like if you go in there with that mindset that you're going to get beat out, then you're going to get beat out. But if you go in there with the mindset that you're going to work hard, you're going to put your foot down, you're going to learn from those older guys. That's one thing that a lot of kids like. You got to learn from those older guys too. You know, listen to your coaches and get to it. So
Mm-hmm. So, kind of working into the recruiting segment. When would you say your college recruiting journey started?
I say after a little bit after my sophomore year, I got invited to a Northwestern camp. Um, After that happened, I just kind of like after that I got put in an article and I kind of blew up in Columbus. And then it just kind of proceeded to blow up in the Midwest, and then
Mm-hmm.
after it's kind of got bigger. So I'd say after a little bit after sophomore year.
Well, you mentioned the Northwestern camp was the first camp you went to. So, what was the best camp that you went to in terms of either learning from the coaches there or the exposure that you got, and one you'd recommend to someone else trying to go to a camp?
Um, this is an invite only camp, but it was the Under Armour All American camp. I remember when I went there, I didn't only compete with other talented athletes, but I learned a lot too. So that also helped me going into my senior year. So if you could get there, they have nomination things or nomination lists on their website. So I would definitely do that. If not, I'd go to FBU. I don't know how much the price is, but if you can get an FBU, that'd be a great camp to learn a lot of position skill movements and all this other stuff. So
Mm-hmm. For the Under Armour All American camp, you mentioned that's invite only, but for the nomination deal, like, can you like nominate yourself or in like kind of is it like a wait list sort of thing or?
I'm not sure. I'm honestly I'm not sure how it works. I know that a lot of my coaches nominated me, and then I was kind of well for me. I don't know how to speak for like somebody that's not really getting noticed, but I know I was I was on the verge of getting like jumping, and I was like my recruitment started speeding up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's also what kind of got me into it too. But I'm not 100% sure on how that works.
Mm-hmm. So, uh, so what were some of the factors that led to you committing to Central Michigan?
Honestly, my first visit, it was like a family environment.
Yeah.
I like the uh, not only the coaches but the players and how the well established the players were and how they just wanted to win. Also clicked with Lou Nichols. He kind of like took me under his wing and just told me a lot of stuff about the campus and gave me a lot of advice that I took. A lot of the run backs, Miles Bailey, Marion Lukes, those guys kind of Nari and all of them. Those guys kind of like helped me out. So it was kind of like I mean, Lou's gone, but there's still Miles and Marion there. So I was kind of like I clicked with those guys.
Mm-hmm. So, what exactly were you looking for in your college search throughout the process that led you to eventually being Central?
Um, I was looking for a place not too far from home because I know Washington State was an option. Um, but that's very far.
So, let's say that's the definition of far from home.
Yeah, that's very far. So I wasn't really looking at that, but I wanted to be close to home with a family environment. Where I know, like I know I'm going to be like somewhat far from home a little bit, but like where I can depend on somebody if something goes down. So I
Hmm.
mean, and showed that. So
Yeah, it's like far, but it's also not like it's
yeah,
not
it's not.
crazy. It's you can drive home if you need to.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about for playing college football?
Um, I'm just excited for the whole entire experience, playing college football. And I'm not really into the TV stuff, but that's another perk of it. But I'm really focused on my education, getting my education and free education. I wouldn't say free education because it costs, but in my situation, it's free. But
Hmm.
getting that education and moving on with life and being successful is my main goal.
Yeah. What are some of the goals that you have for specifically football in college?
Uh Man, just working, honestly, just working hard and playing and getting to playing and just being that guy. I want
Yeah.
to be that guy, that dog. So,
The next Lou Nichols, he's fun to watch. I'll tell you that.
oh yeah, that dude, Lou Nichols, he taught me a lot.
Yeah.
I talked to him a lot. We text, I FaceTime him sometimes. I mean, that dude, he's a gave me a lot of tips on just being in college in general. So, you know, and after I committed to Central Michigan, it was kind of like a set stone. Like that's where I wanted to go.
Yeah. So, do you talk to any of the players that are either committed there or do you try to recruit other kids to the school?
Yeah, pretty much after I committed, I was looking at the more of the team. Like, so I was just any recruit that I'd see that have the offer from Central Michigan, I'd text and be like, "Yo, man, like this is because it's a good I mean it's a good place to be. We have the number one recruiting class in the MAC,
Yeah.
so, and I think we have more recruits than Michigan State, I believe. I think we're number two in Michigan.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a good place to be. I mean,
Yeah, really good head coach. Head coach was a former offensive coordinator at Bama. I just learned that. So
yeah,
he was an important role in the biggest, basically biggest team in the country.
oh yeah, he's legit, Coach Mack.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. The team, it's a really good program. So, do you have any advice for high school athletes in general as they go through the recruiting process?
My main advice for them was to train all year long, even when you're playing another sport. My main advice is train all year long because eventually you're going to hit that spot where you're going to be ahead of a lot of kids. Even though you're ahead of a lot of kids, don't mean don't stop working. Because once
Hmm.
it's a cycle. You stop working, they're going to catch up. So just train all year long, work hard, keep your grades up because without your grades, you're not going to play. That was one problem that not that I didn't have, but some of my friends had, and I know that kept them from playing. Also, just training. I mean, find a facility. Ask for advice. Ask for advice. That's one of the biggest things. Ask questions. It doesn't have to be just your head football coach. It could just be, and if you're looking at a position, watch YouTube. Watch a lot of how what I do is I watch how Ezekiel Elliott runs the ball. I watch how he hits the holes, and study the playbook because a lot of kids don't know when you study the playbook, you become more educated about the game in general. And the more educated you are about the game, the more better you play. And I felt like that's one of the things that separated me from a lot of other kids is that when I first got to Orange and it was a new school, one thing I did was I studied the playbook. I like studied how plays run, and how plays work and stuff like that. So that was a big plus for me just in general and just I have I could say it's different, but if you're in Columbus, I'd say go to Hope Fitness or hit up Dorian Grant. Those guys, they have something going for not just for me, but for a whole lot of other kids. Um, Workouts and stuff, just train hard and just like don't compare yourself to other people because honestly, you're having a battle with yourself, you know. So just keep doing that, keep working. Don't worry about offers; they'll come. You know, so that's one thing that a lot of people do too. Don't worry about the offers; they'll come. It'll all come as long as you work hard.
Mm-hmm. Then I'm just out of pure curiosity. What are some of the other D1 offers that you got from teams?
Um, man, I know Western Michigan, pretty much the whole MAC. Uh, jeez, Duquesne, Youngstown, UConn.
You mentioned Washington State, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get an offer from them. They were just like, I think it was a little bit before signing day. They were just kind of like, touching on me. I'm like, it could be an option, you
Yeah.
know, but
Just touching base, yeah.
yeah, it wasn't really like a me going there thing. Yeah, I have a, I know what other school? Eastern Michigan offered me, Indiana State, so much. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hey, I respect putting it in the rearview mirror because none of that matters now, you know?
Cincinnati was a big one too. That was the start to my recruitment in like the first place before.
Oh,
So
that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's fairly local to you. All right, so I'm gonna go off and list the accolades and accomplishments you gave me before I dive into this section. So ESPN National Running Back, you're ranked number 66 in the country, which there is a lot of people in this country. So to be ranked 66, that's crazy. You're number 26 in your state. I already mentioned 3-star all state. I already mentioned that. Leading rusher and receiver for your school, which playing running back being the leading receiver. That's impressive on its own. 15 D1 offers, 1,800 all-purpose yards, and then 15 touchdowns and 1,200 rushing yards junior year. And then I already mentioned the high school you played for. So wow, decorated career, a lot of stuff, all state. That alone shows you that. But so my personal favorite question to ask is, who is the most talented person that you've played with in your football career? I know, heavy hitter, right?
oh, that's crazy,
I know.
man. Does it have to be one?
No, if you wanna say more than one, I'll save you the trouble.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely this kid, Caden Doherty. This kid was sophomore year. I don't know. He was just I don't. He was crazy. He was insane. And Mitchell Tomsek, the one that's going to Eastern Michigan, he was a quarterback, but he could also punt insanely. Like I don't know.
And
That's an
punt, that's a funny combination, quarterback
yeah.
and punter.
I've never. That was my first time actually see like somebody like on my team like punt. Oh, it was crazy. Number 3 would probably be Bobby Yogos, the running back that I came to from Olentangy Orange. This kid would jump over piles like it was nothing, and he's only like 5'8", 5'9",
Yeah.
and probably one of the strongest kids that I played with. Honestly, he was like stronger than he's the strongest kid on the team. Honestly, he was stronger than Lyman.
Wow.
Uh,
That's impressive as a running back. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, he was definitely there.
Hmm.
Oh, one of our freshman quarterbacks, Levi Davis. This dude was I don't know, man. It'd be sometimes I'll be pass blocking and he'd be doing his drop backs, doing his little, looking for a target. And I could tell I'm like, man, what's taking so long for him to throw the ball? And I'd look to my right, he'd be gone. He'd be like 15, 20 yards up the field. I'd be like, yo, like is like he was nice. He was nice. And he was only a freshman, so he has 3 more
Dang.
beautiful in front of him. So
Nice. A bright future ahead for that kid. Yeah. And then who's the most talented player that you've played against? Or I guess multiple if you have multiple, but
number one's probably Caden Saunders. That kid could move. I know. I remember somebody saying that they could say the same about me, but just looking at somebody that's older than me that's moving like that, I was kind of like surprised because I'm like, I've never seen nothing like that.
mm-hmm.
Uh, Another kid, Michael Mansoray, they went to him and Caden went to the same school. Kid was so big and shifty. It was crazy. another kid is actually my boy. He's a Hope boy. His name is Jaden Yates. Yeah, he was very talented at linebacker. So
Mm-hmm. What was your welcome to varsity moment?
I was a sophomore, and there was a kid named Joseph Borchers. And my welcome to varsity moment, I was running on a stretch play, and he was playing corner, and yeah, and too well. I got
Yeah.
knocked. Well, I'd say we kind of like ran. I don't know if we like ran into each other, but I still lost. It was just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And have you had any setbacks or roadblocks that you've had to overcome so far in your career?
Uh, I'd say just in my life in general. I grew up pretty rough in Cleveland, so just going through that and seeing both sides of um the more successful side and going to college on a full scholarship and seeing the lowest that my life has been at. Um, it's that's probably a roadblock because it's a lot of setbacks, but I made it work though with hard work and dedication and having a lot of supporters on my back with that lot of situations that happened in Cleveland. So
Mm-hmm. So obviously motivation comes in different shapes and sizes, but what exactly motivates you?
um I like to do it for, well, not do it for, but my motivation is kids that don't have much, and them finding a way out of that situation. That's more my motivation. My motivation is more for the youth, the younger kids. Also, just to be successful in general, because, like I said, I didn't come from much, so that just motivated me to work harder. Also, it motivated me to show other kids that come from the same situation that they could make it out too.
Mm-hmm. So, what exactly do you have for advice for kids that are like going through the grind right now, trying to like earn a starting role on varsity or even making the team, if that's the case?
Um, I would just say, like I said earlier, I would just say, don't focus on age. Don't focus on who's older, who's stronger, who's faster. Just focus on what you need to do. I'd make a list on what you want to work on and improve on because everybody needs to improve on something. Even I have to. You know, I would make a list and I would just follow that list. I would also do, while everybody has their smartphones, just look up things. I was big on research and stuff like that. So I would always research on how could I get better at this by doing, by just,
Mm-hmm.
it's I always just Googling it, just how could I get better at cuts and stuff until I found Hope Fitness and Dorian Grant. They helped me with that. But just, and always compete. That's a lot of things too, is compete, like compete mindset in every single thing. Sprints, weightlifting, just compete. Just be the best at everything. And I feel like that just turns a lot of people into a dog. I tell you, it turns a lot of people into a dog.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that have helped you through hard times? Because hard times, obviously, everyone has them, but people respond in different ways. So, what were some of the things that helped you through those?
Just always feel like a hard time. There's always a good outcome of it. There's always a lesson out of a hard time. So that was one of my things that motivated me to get out of it, or not to get out of it, but to succeed and keep moving on. Is that there's always an outcome. You're gonna learn from it. So it doesn't mean keep making the same mistake, but learning from that mistake and becoming better and turning that mistake into something positive is always something that I go by.
Mm-hmm. So, what's one memory that you've had so far in your career that like you just remember vividly, like a big moment?
Ooh, probably the first time, my first game at Olentangy Orange when I transferred. We was like 53 seconds left on the clock. We were on the 10-yard line, maybe closer to 7-yard line or something like that, and um, I think we had to score. I think it was like 20. I don't know. I don't remember the score, but I scored and I made it. We were a point away. So it was like, we scored, got 20 and they had 21. And so it was the last second. So we were going to go for a field goal. They ended up jumping off sides. So we went for it. And it was either you kick the field goal, tie it up, or you go for the 2 point. We went for the 2 point. Went for the 2 point, and I scored on the 2 point. So after that, I've never seen like it was crazy. It was the crowd was going crazy. There's people around on the fence going crazy. My teammates going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably the best moment that I've ever felt like in my whole career.
Oh, that's so fun. Oh, that's
Insane.
great. Yeah. Um, so what are some of the best ways that you've found to help balance life in school or sports
Uh,
in school?
I always think about school first. So before you do your workouts, just do your homework. That is as simple as that. Before you go outside and go on a run, do your homework. Make sure all your school stuff is set aside. It's number one because school comes first. Especially if you're trying to become a Division I athlete, without good grades, you're not going to go nowhere. A lot of people they forget that, and a lot of people they need to know like you're not going to get into a college with bad grades. So
Mhm.
that just needs like you need to embed that before you go outside, before you play the game, before you do this. Make sure your schoolwork is done so you don't have to worry about it. And
Yeah.
I think not a formula. I think it's not, but it's hard. It's something hard because it takes discipline. But I think that's something that's always I struggle with in the beginning, but now I'm doing it. I'm doing better. I'm graduating. Well, not graduating right now, but right now
Yeah.
I currently have a 0.87 GPA, and that's just because of doing stuff like that and doing my homework. And well, I don't know. I don't have a good relationship with homework. I feel like if you have enough time in class to do assignment,
Yeah.
a lot of work is assignments that you don't finish in class. So, and my on my lunch breaks, I my coach's room is open, so I'll go in my coach's room every single day and I'll do homework that I need to do. So when I get home, I can do my workouts. I can prepare a meal, and stuff like that. So I get a lot of work done at school. You know, that's me. That's
Mhm.
just how I am. I go home. I don't really have homework unless I have a test the next day that I want to study for.
Yeah. And then my final question for you is who have been like some of your biggest mentors and people that have made the biggest impact on your career so far?
Uh, Definitely a guy named Tom Ford. He's basically you know, when I was back in Cleveland, he was the admissions for one of the schools that I got accepted into, Lutheran West, and he's just always been there with me throughout this whole entire journey. My grandmother definitely for taking me into her house and taking me into her wing. Um, my pastor in Cleveland that I used to go to church with, Pastor Hughes. Um, a family that helped me out, Beth and them, they helped me out a lot with just the transition from Cleveland to Columbus. And I said my grandmother, but my uncle, my aunt, my pops Theo, and his wife Janie, they just always been that my support
Mhm.
system. And Dorian Grant, I don't know if you know who he is, but he played for the Buckeyes. He's a corner for the Buckeyes, their championship team. He's one of the captains. And I don't know. He just pushed me. He pushed me to some limits. But he made it happen.
Yeah.
Also, Hope Fitness is probably the best gym in Columbus, Ohio. But you know, it just depends on like if you're trying to spend $100, you're trying to spend $10. I'm spending $10, and it for $10 is one of the best gyms that you could ever go to. Just the energy's there, everything's there, and a lot of all my coaches, honestly. So
Yeah. All right, that's all I have for you. If you have anything else you want to add or anything, go ahead.
thank
But
you.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
thanks
It
for
was good
doing this.
talking.
I'd like to thank JJ for coming on to today's show. This is one of the most fun interviews that I've done, and he's going to have a great college career. Fire up chips. And make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. As always, my name is Calvin Custance, and this is The Blueprint.